Welcome to a very rainy and cold St. Louis, Missouri. Monday Night Football on the SFL Network on YouTube. Alongside Charles Doherty and Levant Mercer, I'm Cameron Irvine. How you doing, Levant?
I'm doing great. You know, it's very wet and wild out there today, but you know, we should be able to still, get through this.
St. Louis 1-4 and trying to turn things around. They've been very competitive, but come on the losing end of a lot of ball games. Mexico City just the opposite, 4-1. They win with chunk plays and big highlight reel worthy efforts. We're heading down to the field for the coin toss, where Mexico City selects tails, wearing red pants tonight. White jerseys to help us see. St. Louis has won the toss, and they choose to defer to the second half. And Levant, what are your keys to the game?
Well, for St. Louis, they're really going to have to look for other options other than Nick Finch, because against this secondary, it's going to be hard to just rely on one receiver. They're definitely going to have to find a way to scheme him open and get Denzel Diaz involved as well. For Mexico City, big play potential is a little limited in the rain, but you can still play to your strengths. You know Ray Bentley's good to run, so we'll see what happens.
The ball's on the tee, and the hands in the air from St. Louis, and Graham Northrup do the honors. Kick it, we're underway. This is a very short kick up to only the 21-yard line with the wind blowing around. Jeffrey Daggs returns up to the 38, and Matt Wilson comes out to quarterback the 4-1 Mexico City Aztecs. Mexico City, a rare trip to St. Louis. Don't often see the Aztecs here in Budweiser Stadium in the red helmets, white pants, red jerseys, gold helmets, green jerseys, gold pants for the Gladiators, as Ray Bentley is the lone man in the backfield. And Bentley drops to or Wilson drops to throw rather, and the pass is caught for a first down at the Gladiator 49. Richard Montague with his first catch of the night.
Montague hasn't really shown up in the past couple of games, but he is still a threat and a great route runner. So in the rain, I don't expect him to slip, and I expect him to still have a great day.
There has been some ugly weather all over the country here today, and Baltimore just barely avoided some sleet and freezing rain in their game tonight as well. Wilson hit as he threw. The pass is caught, though, to a wide open K.L. Barrett as he runs into the Gladiator sideline. That close to getting there. That was Zachary Bates applying the pressure.
Zachary Bates was just a second away from sacking the quarterback there, but K.L. Barrett is one to watch for today. He's had some great games over the past couple of weeks, and he's a danger.
Wilson's going to go in the shotgun. First two plays of the drive, both completed passes. Three receivers with Barrett off the left side running a slant. He's looking that way, and Barrett gets the slant for the first down of the 25-yard line. Levant, that is just precision timing. These two guys know each other so well.
Yeah, they do. Once again, just the same plays that they've been killing other teams the past couple of weeks with these slants over the middle have just been shredding these defenses, and St. Louis has really got to guard against them.
Into scoring position, Bentley off the right side of Wilson. 4-3 defense for St. Louis. As Wilson will hand it off for the first time tonight. Bentley's dragged down by Bates. Nice open field tackle. We know how dangerous Bentley can be. He picks up 3 on his first carry.
He's going to be a key to watch in this game here, because in the rain, you're going to be more active on the ground than you can in the air, and Ray Bentley is a really powerful threat to go north and south here.
Two receivers, one to either side. That's Montague top of the screen, the taller Barrett at the bottom of the screen. Wilson going to throw. 5-step drop. Wilson in some trouble. Took a huge shot and a diving effort made by Mike Daggs. It's caught at the 8-yard line. That's the second time Wilson has just gotten the ball away, and it goes for another first down.
He was real poised in the pocket there, took a shot, but Mike Daggs is just there with an acrobatic catch right there. He's been having some great games, 2 touchdowns the past 3 games.
Wilson now against 6 in the box. Bentley is behind him to his left. 8:40 to go in the first quarter. Handoff Ray. And Ray is inside the 5, pushes forward down to the 2. Combo tackle there made by Gunnar Remington and Bo Knowles.
St. Louis was not able to get in the backfield there. The pulling guard left it wide open for Ray to just run through.
Now Wilson 4 of 4, 51 yards on the opening drive. 2nd and goal at the 2. 3 receivers now for Matt Wilson. Handoff to Bentley, and Ray Bentley's going to be knocked in the backfield. A loss of 3. That's Bates again making the play. Zachary Bates, the 16th pick in the draft, is very active early.
Yes, he was involved in coverage earlier in this drive, and now he gets into the backfield and to stop Ray Bentley. He's been doing a great job tackling the ball carrier so far today.
3rd down and goal at the 5. St. Louis would love to force a Cole Varner field goal here on the opening possession that has gone all Aztecs so far. Wilson going to the end zone. Caught, touchdown! K.L. Barrett, no way! In the corner, and this might have to be reviewed whether or not the ball crossed the pylon.
He's doing his best Nick Finch impressions, almost sliding into the end zone here. Look, right, once again, just keeps his toes in bounds with that toe drag swag.
And no challenge from St. Louis, Levant. That looked really close to me. And a great shout out there to Nick Finch's amazing play. It was in that same end zone, the same corner. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was really picture perfect, wasn't it?
So Wilson ends the opening drive 5 of 5 for 56 yards in the spitting, misting, drizzling rain here in St. Louis. Just nasty weather outside, 37 degrees. And it is just, it's not the best football weather, but these two teams going to get down and dirty with each other tonight.
Well, you know, old heads would say that this is football weather. This is the football weather that they used to know in the 70s and 80s. That's where you get the more smash mouth football in, and that's really what we're probably in for tonight.
Oh, big hit on special teams as Swaim on the return only out to the 19-yard line. So Moody Mitchell, the #1 pick in the draft, comes out, and St. Louis only 8 turnovers in 5 games. Mitchell has really impressed despite the 1-4 start.
Yeah, he's having some really efficient games, and he's been let down by the defense here and there on some of these games, but he's had efficient drives throughout his career so far.
3 receivers, 2 off the left side. Mitchell going to throw. Mitchell's got all day. Finally gets rid of it to Diaz. Diaz gives a stiff arm to the bigger Nick Daggs. It's a pickup of 4 yards. And Avant, we were talking in the pregame about how Denzel Diaz is going to have to be a huge part of this game plan here tonight.
And with plays like that, you're wanting to give him more of the ball, especially in this weather. You really need to drive Mexico City back and leave them on the field as long as possible. And to do that, you need an efficient and powerful running game. And Denzel Diaz can provide you that when he's on.
4 receivers, 3 to the left side. Mitchell's got Diaz to his left in the shotgun. 2nd and 6. Nickel or dime look rather for Mexico City as Mitchell's pass is caught for a first down. That's Nick Finch. First down to the 30. You've been loving, as have I, the season Nick Finch is having. Easily his best.
It's easily his best. He's almost reaching last season's tally in only 6 games. So he's one to watch for St. Louis.
1st and 10 at the 30, 6:40 to go in the first quarter. Mexico City in the nickel. Look at the time for Mitchell. Pass caught near a first down, 9-yard gain. And that is the first catch of the night for Tito Moss, who is used fairly heavily in this offense.
Yeah, not much of a heralded man, but he does make some big plays. I know last season in the convention, he made this long touchdown after a catch, so he's really dangerous no matter what.
Heavy look here. 2nd and 1, handoff goes to Diaz. Diaz strings it out and then runs in, gets swallowed up by Nick Daggs on the tackle. But a first down for St. Louis up to the 44-yard line, and the Gladiators are moving the ball and keeping Wilson off the field on their opening possession.
That's really important, and also St. Louis is attacking this nickel 3-3-5 look that they like to employ, where if they don't get pressure up front, then they're are able to run the ball effectively.
The receivers passing Mitchell, dump off Cody Scott, the tight end, and that picks up 4 to the St. Louis 48-yard line, and Scott is involved for the first time. Pablo Zamora on the tackle.
That's another key to this game is, to spread the field a little bit more, not make Finch the only target. You have other weapons on this offense. You also have Angeloni, and you're gonna have to get them involved to spread this field for Diaz to run through.
2nd and 6 at the 48, just shy of midfield, and Mitchell again, all day to throw. Pass caught by Finch. First down to the Aztec 38-yard line. This is an impressive opening drive here for St. Louis, going up against a defense that is top 4 in the league in run, pass, and total defense.
And they're doing it real efficiently. They're finding the gaps in the zones, these soft zones that Mexico City sometimes employs, but, oh, look at this.
Mexico City giving us early Harry's close shave, close call challenge here on the sideline. We all know how we love trying to figure out what the heck they're thinking down there. Let's take a look at this one.
Well, they're trying to see if he kept at least 1 foot in bounds, but I think right here it's just so clear to see that he was in.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you, Levon. I'd be surprised if Ramos Lynn wins this challenge. And he does win the challenge. And Mexico City not charged a timeout, and that's unfortunate for St. Louis because they were nearing field goal range, but now it's 3rd and 6.
And that changes the complexity of this drive in a big way, because instead of continuing to push down the field, now they're forced into a passing situation against this secondary.
3 receivers, 2 to the left side for Mitchell. Needs the 46.5-yard line for a first down. He'll step up in the pocket. Pass is incomplete. Pressure on Moss applied by Nick Daggs, and it'll bring up 4th down, and that challenge looms large as it stalls a drive for St. Louis.
You really got to give it up to Daggs here on this play. Moss with the comeback route right here and just gets drilled to the turf, making sure that no one catches that.
So 5 minutes to go. Matt Wilson will go back to work. St. Louis has a chance to pin him deep. Bo Zabrowski is the punter for St. Louis. And by the way, if you're just watching our game, don't forget there's other action as well. Find as many monitors, phones, devices as you possibly can. Good night of action. Indianapolis at San Francisco, a battle of two and three squads wanting a victory as Daggs returns over the 24, and then a rematch of opening night as Alaska takes a very long road trip to Baltimore to try to get even with the Vultures. First down for the Aztecs, starting their second drive at the 24.
Mexico City really impressed with a more efficient look the last time, not trying to look for those big plays that have won them the previous games. They're trying to go for a more efficient offense at this range. 3
receivers for Wilson. St. Louis going to have to do something different on this second drive as Wilson again gets crushed, and wide open is Daggs. 30, breaking a tackle, 20, 10, down to the 7-yard line. And big play, Mike Daggs is at it again, Levon.
Seems like we have someone down on the field here. Carl Forgey's down on the field, and that does not look good. But let's look at this play as well. Daggs again, right after Wilson just gets drilled here. Daggs just runs that simple seam route that he has been running all season, that 9-go, and he just takes off running.
And that was actually the man applying pressure on Wilson, and that's the 3rd time tonight on 6 pass attempts that Wilson has just gotten it away. And Mike Daggs, who you've got an amazing stat on that I just have to hear again after this play, just out of control. Now 83 yards receiving here in the first quarter. Back in the red zone, handoff Bentley. Bentley inside the 5, down to the 4-yard line.
Yeah, in the past 2 games, his average long reception has been 34.5 yards, and I think that's even higher now after that play.
So with 4:23 to go in the first, Wilson 6 of 6 for 125 yards. St. Louis's defense bleeding just a bit here in the first quarter at home. They are in desperate need of a stop. Split backs out of the gun. Wilson fires a floater back in the end zone, nearly intercepted but knocked away by Ethan Kai, 6', 205, second season player.
And Ethan Kai has had a great season last season for St. Louis. He was everywhere you need a safety to be. He was in the backfield. He was making stops, and right there, once again in the red zone, he's just master pass deflections.
Two receivers, one to either side for Wilson off his first incompletion. 3rd and goal at the 4. And Wilson gonna pass quickly to Barrett, nearly intercepted again. That was Colin Douglas on the coverage as he went for the fade in the back corner of the end zone, and St. Louis does manage to get the half stop there. A big boost to the fans here in the rain.
That's real important because that loomed really dangerous for St. Louis after that big play, and losing their defensive end on this drive to hold them just to 3 is really good.
So Cole Varner in for a chip shot for him. 21-yard field goal is good, and Mexico City has an early 10-0 lead with 4:03 to go in the first quarter. The Simulation Football League, presented by APM Music, Production Music Library, and Custom Music House, is also brought to you in part by Extraordinary Everest, heartfelt messages on the most extraordinary place on earth. By Bit Central and Fuel, transforming SFL media in 2019. By Harry's Razors, all you need for a close, comfortable shave. Varner kicks it away, and this is 5 yards deep, and Swain can do nothing with it but take a knee, and Mitchell will come out for a second possession. After the first possession really wasn't too bad, but a questionable call there stalled it out.
Yeah, and, you know, for Mitchell, all he has to do is just replicate what he did on the first try. He's really efficient with his passing, so all he has to do is just shake it off and go back out there.
1st and 10 from the 20. 2 in the backfield for Mitchell. Handoff Diaz. Denzel Diaz has some room, gets rid of Jack Brown, which is hard to do. Up to the 34-yard line, a 14-yard gain for Diaz.
That's something we haven't seen much out of him this season, but we know he has the potential to do so. Just follows his blockers and just takes out Jack Brown.
Vicious run there from Diaz. He must have seen some film on Logan Jack from last night. Did you see that game, Levon? Did you see any action from New
Yes,
Orleans?
I have, and Logan Jack is just an absolute monster.
And off Diaz, and he runs into Zamora. Dags hits him from behind. Forgy got poked in the eye. I can't even believe that is the report. Did he get poked in the eye by Matt Wilson's rib cage? Like, unbelievable.
Hey, sometimes in those trenches, the old linemen like to try to get away with some stuff, and they did right there, and that's probably what happened.
2nd and 7 at the 37. Mitchell fires, caught, and getting a first down is Moss at the 44. That looked like a similar play to the one that he was unable to corral on that 3rd down play that ended the last drive.
It did, but this time, you know, Mitchell was able to get the pass off and zip it in there just fast enough so that no one could react to it. Last time, Dags reacted to the ball in time.
First down at the 44, once again moving the football here out to Diaz, and the flat's well covered, only a 1-yard pickup as Fran Agawa makes the stop. A scoreboard check around the league right now, just starting the second quarter. Baltimore up on Alaska 7-0, and San Francisco leading Indy 3-0 in a low-scoring affair at Shark Bait Stadium. 2nd and 9 from the 45, 2:05 to go in the first. Mitchell gonna throw, fires it out, and through the hands of Cody Scott will bring up a 3rd and long. He can't believe it.
Well, sometimes with this type of weather, you know, especially since it seems that he has a glove on, you know, those things get wet, and sometimes they come out of your hand wrong, and that right there was just kind of a duck of a pass, and it just slipped through his hands.
Matt Wilson in the chat saying, I didn't poke him in the eye, I swear. Siege Falco says, you're the one he tackled. he probably didn't poke himself in the eye. 3rd and 9 at the 45. 4 wide for Mitchell. Mitchell's in trouble. Hit as he threw. The ball goes backwards, but it's ruled a forward pass. Unblocked Dorian Lopez. And once again, St. Louis's defense going to have to go to work, and the offense stalls around midfield.
Can't forget about Dorian Lopez or Mauricio Zito. While they're not, you know, the most, you know, paid in the league to do what they do, they are dangerous, and they have collected their total sacks over the years.
So the Gladiators, Connor Zabrowski punts it from his own 34-yard line. This will be Jeffrey Daggs on the return from the 24. Daggs has a little bit of space, gets it up to the 28. Matt Wilson will go back to work. Mitchell 6 of 9 for 34 yards. Ray Bentley 4 carries, 9 yards. Not a lot there so far, but the Aztecs have 5 first downs and 10 points.
Well, what matters sometimes is just the scoreboard, and if you can get big plays like Mexico City can, you know, that's what's really going to change the complexity of things sometimes.
So from the 28-yard line, and off to Bentley. Nothing there. Nice play by Shane Masters at defensive tackle as the Gladiators continue to block Ray Bentley from the box score.
And they always have these advantages in the hack count there. They're right there. There was like 8 men in the box. But they didn't really need all that because Shane Masters just dominates the center on him and gets to Ray Bentley in no time fast.
This is 2nd and 11 for Wilson. Check down, dropped in the slot there by Jamie Hernandez. And it'll bring up 3rd and long. Hernandez and Masters sharing pleasantries.
Sometimes what happens is where you try to do things before you actually have the ball securely in your arms, and that's what happened right there. He tried to spin or whatever that was before he actually gained, you know, control of the ball. You just can't do that.
3rd and long here for St. Louis's defense. Need to give him a break, get off the field. Wilson trying to make a big play. Matt Wilson, time to throw. Pass caught. Cale Barrett, first down to the 44. A 17-yard gain. He's been the possession guy. 46 yards on 4 receptions so far.
And he's been having a monster season of late. And once again, just all alone. And you can't leave him alone like that. No one was around him. And that's how this keeps happening. That route just severs defenses. And one of the best route runners in the league running it, you know that's going to be a problem.
Douglas got caught looking. I think he thought Barrett was going to go back to the outside, and he just gave up containment. Wilson to throw. Wilson in trouble. Hit as he threw. Wobbly pass is out of bounds. So again, the pressure applied by St. Louis gets home just a smidge late, but forces an incompletion. Wilson's 4th of the night. It's 2nd down.
Having really interesting ways to get to the quarterback. The defensive line changing, you know, their gap assignments every play, and it's been working out so far. This O-line doesn't know who to guard.
You know, Levon, you've got a fan in the chat room. Big fan of your work. Wilson's pass is outside. You in the chat right now? You seeing this fandom?
No, I usually don't. I need to.
Christian
but
Christensen. He's loving what you're saying tonight. I don't know if hopefully he's not trolling you, but
he sometimes does, but I hope he's not.
3rd and 3 from midfield. Right now, feels kind of like Wilson's trolling the Gladiators defense, toying with them here on this possession, trying to get something going down the field. Converted the last 3rd down. Straight back drop, fires. Barrett wide open. They cannot stop Cale Barrett. All the way down to the Gladiator 28-yard line, and Wilson's up to a $170.
And once again, here they disguised him as the seam runner. They were probably expecting Daggs, and this time, now it's Barrett running the 9, and there he goes. When you have 2 deep threats like this, it's real hard to contain them, especially when you're blitzing on every down.
So St. Louis really having a tough time with Mexico City's pass offense. They've really contained Bentley quite well. But Cale Barrett doing whatever he wants out there. Likely the final play of the quarter. And that pass caught by Barrett, one-hander. Now he's just showing off. And that is the end of the first quarter of play. It's Mexico City 10 and St. Louis nothing. You're watching Monday Night Football on the SFL Network on YouTube, presented by APM Music. All right, a 2nd and 6 from the Gladiator 24 as we start the second quarter. 37-degree, dreary night here in St. Louis, and the hometown fans have not had anything to cheer about. Pass caught by Montague, but he fell over, and they just got to him in time before he had a chance to get up and pick up the first down, 3rd and short. And that may be a blessing in disguise for St. Louis, because if Mexico City tries to run, they've been pretty good at that today.
Yeah, they've been able to stop the run, but that right there is just a symptom of the weather. He just kind of caught himself on his feet, and sometimes, you know, those little turf monsters will get you on the field there.
3rd and 1 of the 19. 7 in the box for St. Louis. Handoff Bentley. Ray Bentley gets through the first line of defense down to the 10. 9-yard gain. His best run of the night. 1st and goal from the 10. I tell you what, Levant, they're working this Gladiator defense. Time of possession greatly in their favor. St. Louis, they just got to find a way to force another field goal.
Well, that right there, they just don't know where their scheme's headed right now. They blitz, and then they get hit on these quick outs and stuff. Then they drop into coverage, and they get gashed by Bentley. They really have to mix up their coverages here on defense to cover more than one facet of the offense.
Barrett's dominating. Wilson out of the gun. 1st and goal from the 10. Wilson in trouble, and Wilson finally goes down as St. Louis's pressure gets home. That's off the left side, and Carl Forgy, who was poked in the eye earlier, says, "Poke that."
Well, he definitely poked him here. Look at this jab and this slam.
Most ridiculous. It's like one of those old Facebook videos or you know, when they had pokes going, which was a terrible idea. 2nd and 16 at the 17-yard line. I don't think I've ever said pokes or looked at a broadcast. Wilson going to throw and flips it out to Bentley. He runs out of room. So now 3rd and goal way back on the 18-yard line, and Mexico City going the wrong way.
Probably a poke in the eye there too. I mean, sometimes you just don't know where the sidelines are, and that right there was Ray just kind of not finding his footing.
9:20 left. Man, 3rd and goal from the 18. Cannot let anybody get free here. Wilson out of the gun, showing a blitz from the outside is St. Louis. They back off, rush just 4. Wilson's pass over the middle, caught for a touchdown. Oh my goodness, Richard Montague and Matt Wilson can do no wrong here in the first half.
Well, forget the rain, because they're bringing the lightning, because look at this. And about 3 seconds, this ball is out and into the end zone. And once again, they're just having these soft coverages where there's a wide spread of the defense, but sometimes that leaves, you know, those post routes, those slant routes wide open, and once again, gashed by that decision there.
Mexico City, the number 2 scoring offense in the league at 34 points a game, and Levant, you had a kind of a jaw-dropping stat on the last what they've been able to do on the scoreboard this year.
Yes, they've only had one game under 35 points this season. One. And that was a 13-6 victory.
Who held them to 13? I can't even remember. That was, it wasn't Sioux Falls, was it?
I'm pulling it up as we speak.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That is crazy to think of this offense this season scoring just 13 points. Maybe somebody in the chat can help us out. 1 yard deep in the end zone, Swaim on the return, and they'll only get 220. Mexico City dominating time of possession and field position. And chat shout-outs while Levant looks up that number for us. Christian Christensen, Justin Currents, Ethan Kai, Ramos Lynn, Dwayne Schindler, Matt Wilson in the chat. Along with, who else we got in there? Armand Rice, Stephen at Large, who is not quitting, even though he always likes to say he is. Ashley Jackson. KL Barrett's also in the chat as well. As the handoff goes to Diaz, and he picks up just one. Smashed in the middle. 2nd and 9 coming up.
You know, as Devon Simeon would say, the team that actually, held them to 13 points was the Hyenas.
Yeah, then Houston, obviously, they've been kind of like St. Louis, where they've been in a lot of close games, and it just have not found a way to pull out victories. A tough loss Sunday afternoon against Oklahoma City on a 2nd down and 9. This is Mitchell, and Mitchell from the blind side gets sacked by Zeta. 3rd and 16, and this is going south quickly for St. Louis.
Just look at this man, absolutely decimates the guard and gets to the quarterback there. I know I spoke with him about him earlier with Lopez, and they're just able to get to the quarterback with ease.
Matt, I turned up my microphone a little bit. Let me know if that that helped or was effective. 3rd and 16 at the 14-yard line as Mitchell in trouble again, avoids a sack and then throws it away as nobody opened down the field. But Mitchell really could have taken a big loss there. And once again, the offense goes 3 and out, and the defense, an exhausted defense, is going to have to get out there. Mexico City has had 23 offensive plays. St. Louis has had 15.
Well, that's an astounding number right there, Ben. We also have to say that this weather does provide a lot of difficulties for the offensive line to get their footing. A lot of their play is dictated off footwork, and if they just can't get their feet set right, it makes it so much harder to guard these guys up front.
So this is going to be tremendous field position for Jeffrey Daggs and the Aztecs all the way up to the St. Louis 42-yard line. And Levant, you've been on the plus and minus end of some blowouts in your career. How do you manage it, and how do you come back in the SFL when you're down by this much?
You just have to believe in yourself, believe in your teammates. And I know that sounds cliche, but sometimes you got to look at the amount of time you have on the clock, and you just got to stick to your game plan sometimes. The Ellis was behind last season, and it came back against Tallahassee to win, so it's possible.
Hand off to Ray Bentley, and Bentley, after getting past the first wave, got hit by 3 different Gladiators, including Kai. Bentley averaging 3 yards a carry tonight, 7 carries, 22 yards.
Well, that's still very effective. Sometimes you just need those 3 yards in a cloud of dust, especially in this grime. So as long as they are able to keep, downs manageable, Matt Wilson can make his magic work.
2 backs, 2 receivers with Wilson, and Wilson will fire middle, caught, just pitch and catch right now. To the St. Louis 24, that's Mike Daggs.
They're just having difficulties when they blitz, and they engage all the linebackers. They're leaving these corners in man coverage, and sometimes they just get gashed by players like this. Look at how he's a mountain of a man over here in Daggs, and it's just tough to bring him down, and he towers over these corners and safeties. So for him, it's real easy to get over the top.
St. Louis has had a rough schedule as of late. They had Denver just last week, I believe, as Daggs had another catch to pick up 2 yards. But St. Louis has kind of hit the teeth of their schedule, and they are having a hard time responding here.
Yeah, if you're a St. Louis fan, it's kind of hard to see. It's kind of sad to see. But, they're giving it their all every week, and they've had some real close games they just couldn't edge out.
2nd and 8 at the 22. 3 receivers and 1 back in the backfield. This is Wilson to throw. Wilson deep drop back, nearly got sacked, and then Masters got turned around, and Barrett caught on the sideline at the 9. Everything going right for Mexico City.
Yeah, give it up to the center on that play, re-engaging the Masters there, and look at this majesty here by Barrett. Gets in front of his corner and absolutely just keeps his feet inbounds and just dances on, turns around. Probably could have went upfield, but just couldn't get his foot.
1st and goal at the 9, trying to keep it a 3-score game without 2-point conversions involved. Wilson, the touchdown was dropped, and it's Montague. Couldn't even collect myself quick enough to make the call because I was so stunned. I don't think I've ever seen Montague drop a pass.
I'm going to have to go back in the archives for that one, but I can't believe it either. There's a reason he's called Miracle Montague, because those are the plays that he makes on a routine basis.
6:02 to go in the first half. Bentley is to the left side. 4-down lineman for St. Louis. Barrett's isolated top of the screen. Hand on to Bentley. Bentley isn't anything. Afalabi on the tackle. In his 5th season, a former Chicago Wildcat. And that forces another 3rd down. Mexico City tonight is 4 of 6 on 3rd down conversions.
And that's just proof in the pudding with how efficient this offense has been. They've been able to find out what St. Louis wants to run on 3rd down.
Wilson, end zone, knocked away. And didn't get a chance to see, I believe that was Marquise Reed making the stop. So St. Louis's defense does force a field goal. It's the 5th Mexico City possession, likely 4 scores on it with a punt.
Well, they've been able to just keep up this bend but don't break mentality, but if they keep getting on this field, and it's going to be hard for them to continue on like this. They've been holding them to 3 on 3 different drives, but at some point the floodgates are going to open.
Mexico City's field goal is good. They now have twice as many plays as St. Louis, 30 in this first half to the Gladiators 15. And after forcing a couple of field goals, Levant, you got to feel like if St. Louis can score a touchdown here and only be down 2 scores, despite 224 passing yards from Matt Wilson in the first half, that's got to feel real good.
Yeah, because especially against this offense who, you know, by this time in the other games have been up like 30-0, almost 40 in some games. You got to be proud that you're able to keep this game manageable. You just have to score on this drive to bail your defense out a little bit.
Swaim again, only out of the 20. Mexico City special teams have been outstanding. The Simulation Football League is brought to you by Matt Doyle Designs, official design partner of the SFL. By MediaTek Institute, visit mediatek.edu for diploma programs. Turn your passion into your profession. And by MeUndies, the world's most comfortable underwear for men and women. 1st and 10 at the 20 with 5:25 to go in the first half. It is all Aztecs on the road. Handoff Diaz, and he runs right into a wall. That is Alan Romero, and a loss of 4. And St. Louis continues to go backwards. That's now just 53 total yards of offense for the Gladiators in the first half.
And this defensive line, unheralded normally, has just come alive for Mexico City. They're getting in the backfield. They're stopping a runner. They're sacking the quarterback. They're destroying this offensive line right now.
Badir Ajlani, no catches, no targets here in the first half. 2nd and 14. Mitchell calling an audible. Mitchell checks it down. Diaz chased from behind by Zeta, and they get back the yards they lost. Makes it a more manageable 3rd down, where St. Louis is 0 for 3 tonight.
Well, at this point, they're just going to have to go into some type of package that can get them down the field. They don't have to get it all at once, but they do need to convert on this down.
4 wide, empty look for Mitchell out of the gun. They need just shy of the 30 for a 1st down. Mitchell going to throw. Mitchell in trouble. Mitchell off his back foot. Wobbly ball down the middle of the field is incomplete and should have been picked off by Zamora. Pressure up the middle. Again, no extra blockers. And St. Louis now 0 of 4 on 3rd downs, and will have to punt it away.
This front 7 has been relentless in their pursuit of the quarterback, and it's making it real difficult for Moody Mitchell back there to throw. And being on your back foot in the rain, you're just grateful that he didn't slip, and he just threw that into, I don't know, sextuple coverage almost.
Yeah, I don't know how you would say sextuple or something like that, but I don't think it's ever. I don't think the words ever needed to be used before. Staggs returns up to the St. Louis 48-yard line, and after moving the ball on their first couple of drives and flipping the field and making Wilson go the length, they're just giving the Aztecs the ball basically 1 1st down out of scoring position.
But there's anything that this defense needs to do now, and it's unfortunate to think about this being an out for them, but they need to take the ball away somehow.
And 4:08 to go. Wilson 16 of 22. He has played a clean game thus far. Low snap. Wilson against a blitz, and the pass is caught. Near a 1st down. That's Barrett again. 96 yards in the first half for Barrett, 98 for Daggs, and there it was again. Levant with pressure up the middle. That's exactly where Wilson throws into.
So what happens when you blitz so heavily and can't get to the quarterback, especially with the quick release that Wilson has, he's going to have one-on-one man coverage out to the outside at these times, and he's just going to throw and test their secondary.
2nd inches, Ray Bentley one-on-one, breaks a tackle, breaks another before Douglas brings him down at the 28-yard line. Time ticking away, 3:25 to go in the 2nd quarter.
Another thing to look at here is when they do blitz and they don't engage the right gaps, they just leave things wide open. But right here, Bentley just shrugs off a tackle and continues to muscle right through. Well, when the first man can't get Bentley down, it's a problem, because once he gets into that open field, he can really, really muscle through.
First down at the 28-yard line for Wilson and company. They are dominating here in the first half over the Glads on the road. Flip out near side, caught by Montague. Pickup of 7. From shave sets to handles, Harry's provides quality craftsmanship. Made in Germany, we make Harry's products from the finest materials and ingredients to ensure they perform as well as they possibly can. Use the coupon code SimulationFL at purchasefromharrys.com. A portion of your purchase supports the SFL. Harry's, the official razor of the SFL. Just saw Harry's in Walmart earlier today, and as have others. 2:50 to go in the first half. 2nd and 3 at the 21 for Wilson. Handoff to Bentley running left. Bentley gets away from one and drags defenders, including Reed, for a first down up to the 17-yard line as Mexico City continues to take time off the clock.
That's just the talent of Ray Bentley there. He hasn't had, his greatest season this season, but I was just counting the amount of hats on the line, and he was mismatched against 8 in the box and was still able to get the first down.
2 receivers, 2 backs. Wilson gonna throw, end zone, jump ball, touchdown, Mike Daggs, winning the ball and winning 6 points, and Mexico City is pouring it on now.
Mike Daggs with his 3rd consecutive touchdown in 3 games. That right there is just another milestone for him this season, and just absolutely mosses. I think that was Kai there, and he just made him look silly on that play. You can't leave him just single covered out to the outside like that, because he's just gonna muscle you over and get to the ball.
This is tough to watch. The Aztecs now with 301 yards of offense in the first half. St. Louis with a mere 57, as the Aztecs have dominated from start to finish here. And St. Louis is just, they've got to pick up the pieces, and the one thing they can't do is give it back to them before the end of the half.
That's something they really have to avoid. So in situations like this, when you're down by so much, yes, you have to go down the field as quickly as possible, but you also don't have to get it all back at once. And those two philosophies counteract each other. But in this situation, you just have to understand you're not supposed to force the ball downfield. You're just supposed to get, first downs and, try to score as quickly as you possibly can.
So with 2:10 to go in the first half, St. Louis looking a bit anemic here tonight. They have not had any answers for the Aztec offense. 3 receivers, 2 off the right side, handoff to Diaz. Diaz runs over one, and then if not for Nick Daggs, who's been involved on a lot of Diaz's runs tonight, slowing him down, he might have been gone there, as we've hit the 2-minute warning, the Quip 2-minute warning. You're watching the Simulation Football League on YouTube, presented by APM Music. Visit quip.com for more information. And what an amazing stat here by Ramos Lynn in the chat, the owner of the Mexico City Aztecs, who's obviously very proud of his achievements and the way his team has played over the last 6 quarters. That pass is caught, and St. Louis moves the chains to the 40. Mexico City has outscored their opponents 72-0 in the last 6 quarters.
That's just absolutely astounding to just hear. It's like they've been firing on all cylinders. They've just been phenomenal going down the field with this level of, you know, precision that you haven't seen since season 9 from them.
Their one championship year, trying to get back there. As the handoff goes to Diaz, and Diaz can't get away. 2nd and 7 at the 43. It's interesting, you're seeing it right now, Levant. They're really not in a big hurry because they still want to give the ball back to Wilson in that offense.
Well, sometimes the plan is just to get back to the tunnel for halftime. You know, you don't want to give them yet another opportunity.
Mitchell, check down. Diaz has some room to run, breaks a tackle, then Brown drags him down from behind. It's a 3rd and a long one, about 1.5. With 55 seconds to go, Mexico City and St. Louis both have all 3 timeouts. Out of the eye, they're going to throw it. Mitchell out to Diaz. Diaz has to get to the sticks, and he won't get there. Jack Brown holds him short of the line to gain. And what a play by Brown. And it'll force a punt that St. Louis will have to kick, but they can run the clock mostly all the way down as the Aztecs not taking a timeout.
And, you know, that's rather unfortunate for St. Louis, but at least they can just get out of this half, you know, at least this part of the half safely without any points scored. They've let 27 in so far. They don't need any within the last 2 minutes to give Mexico even more impetus.
So they run down the clock all the way to 8 seconds. Hang time will put it about 3 seconds here for Dags. He's going to field it at the 20. That's going out the half now. 1 second left. You definitely cannot give up a touchdown on the last play of the first half. St. Louis, just don't do that.
You know, if you're Mexico City, you're probably thinking about it right now. You know, you're up 27-0, but, you know, recently they've kept passing the ball even though that they're, you know, up by this much in the past couple of games.
They definitely played a clean first half. Handoff goes to Bentley. Bentley won't get away, and that is the end of the first half of play. And it was all, and I mean all, Mexico City. 27-0. We hit the break, and we'll take a look at first half stats and analysis. And Levant, I mean, it's a little self-explanatory here, but out of all the things that Mexico City has done well in that first half, what was your biggest takeaway?
Well, just the absolute efficiency that they've had on every drive. As you see here, they have 13 minutes of time of possession, probably more. And really, they've just been able to play to their strengths. They've been getting it to Barrett, getting Barrett open. They've been getting Dags involved. They've been getting Bentley involved. They've just been on defense. They've been getting to the quarterback. They've been just, you know, the sheer fundamentals of football. Get to the quarterback. Don't give him any time to throw. Get the ball back into the hands of your veteran quarterback and just let him work his magic. Just look at these plays right here. Big play by Dags. Right, you're like he has the past couple of games. That same play that they run, that go route that's been so effective for them. Here on this play, you just have a lot of pressure in his face, but he stands poised and gets it to Barrett for the touchdown. And that's just what's been working for them. For St. Louis, they just can't get anything going. They got robbed in the first half, I guess, by that bad call, and then ever since then it's snowballed. They can't get the running game going. This has just been a game of fundamentals, and it's been going to plan for Mexico City, and for St. Louis, they just need to come out of this in the second half with a new game plan. They just need to find ways to attack this defense, even if it is still trying to run with Diaz and get at that nickel 3-3-5 defense. It's a little short up front. Though that front line for Mexico City has been providing a lot of pressure. Of a sack by Zeta, a couple of hurries by Lopez. It's been real tough out there for St. Louis.
It's about to get tougher for Mexico City. Their final 5 games of the season, 3 of them are on the road. And they've got some top teams. They've got Tallahassee, Alaska, Baltimore, Chicago, and Dallas all left on their schedule. So we'll get to see what the Aztecs are made of on the back end. But tonight against St. Louis, who appears to be heading to join Houston down at 1-5. They need a miracle here in the second half and a complete turnaround. They do start with the ball to start the second half, and Mitchell, 10 of 16. And again, St. Louis only 8 turnovers in 5 games, and they have not turned the ball over tonight. That hasn't been the problem.
But it just hasn't been. But the problem has been not converting on third down, and they're just getting stopped. Their run's getting stopped. They're getting stopped short. Mexico's been real stout with keeping them away from the first down mark.
Mitchell gonna throw, flips it outside, caught by the fullback, and he picks up 7 yards to get him ahead of the chains. That is Truckee Steck, a fan favorite on the reception.
Yeah, member of the all-name team here, Truckee Steck, doing his, signature wheel route that Colin Hart, just stole from him, He was the original master of the swing route. Look at him out there.
Steck, a savvy veteran in this league, blocking for Diaz, and he's laid some punishing blocks to free up Diaz over the years here in St. Louis. 10:46 to go, third quarter. Aztecs all over the Gladiators. Still a lot of time left here in the ballgame. 2nd and 3, handoff Diaz. Diaz swallowed up by Daggs, Nick Daggs, and Jack Brown. Only a gain of a yard. 3rd and 2. They're still trying to convert their first third down of the night.
You got to give it up to the secondary when they come down to, stop the runner like that. I mean, safeties are known generally to defend against the pass, but Nick Daggs has been everywhere you want him to be. He's been stopping passes, and that once again getting in there to stop the run.
This throw to the outside, it's knocked away by Franagawa. Nick Finch only 1 catch for 9 yards, and actually was that Han? Yeah, it was Han Tayumi, the undrafted rookie outside, and golly, 3 and out again, Levon.
Yeah, that's really what's been their problem today. If they can't, a lot of these teams have, really bad third down conversion rates, but I know St. Louis is way down close to the bottom there with Indianapolis and San Francisco, and they're just having issues just getting past the marker.
Speaking of Indianapolis and San Francisco, the Sharks up 13-0 in the third quarter. Bit of a surprise there, according to Who You Got. And Alaska is up on Baltimore 13-10 in the middle of the third quarter there as well. We're a little bit behind both of them as Mexico City has racked up the clock stoppages. All right, 10:02 to go in the third quarter. Montague top of the screen, Barrett at the bottom. Let's see if the defense can get anything going in the second half for the Gladiators. Trap play to Bentley, and a really nice play there by Afalabi to shut that down immediately. Only a pickup of 2.
Well, the one key highlight for St. Louis that we can talk about is that they have been able to get to Bentley and not let him break free for, those big runs. That may have been what they have game planned for, because this was going to be in the rain. So at least they're performing to standard there.
Second down, 9.5 to go, third quarter. Wilson gonna hand it off to Bentley again, and Ray Bentley's got some space, pick up of 6 yards. Already seeing a little bit more of a conservative offense here in the second half. Bentley now 13 carries, 46 yards.
Well, now for Mexico City, they have to really just drain this clock and just, shut out all hope for St. Louis.
2 backs, 2 receivers. Wilson gonna throw. Barrett jammed at the line. They tried to squeeze it in there and nearly intercepted by Bates. Boys, the Gladiators needed that, but an adjustment on how they are defending K.L. Barrett forces the second punt of the game for the Aztecs.
They have shaded their zone over to where Barrett would be, so there you see all 3 linebackers there shaded towards Barrett this time, and they only rushed 5 that time. They only went with 1 linebacker, and that was the difference on that play.
Nathan, we know it's still raining. It will continue to rain, and you don't have to tell us again that it's raining. Just throwing it out there. 9 minutes to go. We're wet, and we know that we're wet as St. Louis gets up to the 16-yard line on the return. So Moody Mitchell, 11 of 18, 67 yards. Not terrible numbers, but just has not been able to push anything down the field, and nobody has more than 1 catch outside of Diaz.
He's been trying to spread the field. He just can't find his targets right now, and he's really got to find it within himself to get going.
Go in the backfield. They're going to give it to Diaz to start the drive. Great block there to pick up 7 yards. I know it was only 7 yards, but Truckee Steck makes it happen. That's your Everscroll block of the game. That was really well done.
Well, Truckee Steck comes up in front of him as his lead blocker, and you just got to see him deliver what he's capable of doing right there. And without that seal there, it probably would have only been a 3-yard gain. So that was a 3-yard net gain with that block there.
Yeah, he got to Jack Brown on that one. Everscroll by movement blocks blue light to protect your eyes from digital screens. Don't hurt your eyes by checking out SFL action. Protect them and see every moment by using the promo code SimulationFL at purchase from movement.com. A portion of your purchase, as that pass is caught near the sticks, supports the SFL through our partnership. Movement, premium watches, sunglasses, and accessories. That's Finch's third catch, but just shy of the sticks. All right, this is their best opportunity to convert a third down, Levon. 3rd and 1.
Third and 1 here. You really have to give it to Diaz here. He had a good run with a lead blocker earlier. They have 2 backs to the backfield. They really got to punch it through here.
Heavy set against 4 down linemen here for the Aztecs. Who's going to win the game up front? It's St. Louis, and Diaz has a first down out to the 36-yard line. Zamora wraps him up, but finally St. Louis able to convert a 3rd down and keep the drive alive and give their defense a break.
This time St. Louis fanned out their run blocking and got to each individual on the defense and left a lane wide open for him to run through.
7:40 to go, 3rd quarter. Split backs now for Mitchell. And Mitchell will throw. Mitchell looking for somebody. Mitchell finally finds Diaz. I don't know how he saw him, and Jack Brown gets revenge. Only a gain of 1. Tremendous open field tackle, but I don't even know how Mitchell even got that ball out of there.
I don't even know how he saw Diaz out there. All you see is just defensive and offensive linemen just battling right in front of him. He just somehow gets a glimpse over at Diaz and throws it to him.
Diaz picks up 3 different blocks and gets 6 yards to bring up a 3rd down and 3. Perfect engagement there as St. Louis is facing another manageable 3rd down.
At this point, they just need to drive down the field and get points. If this is how they're going to have to do it, to just keep doing it. But when the 4th quarter runs around, they can't keep going with this because they're going to drain their own time. But for now, it's fine.
Out of the gun for Mitchell. Needs to make a quick decision here. Mexico City's gotten pressure on these empty sets. Back to throw. Mitchell steps up, fires, wide open, dropped it! Nick Finch can't hang on, and it has just been that kind of a night for St. Louis. Unbelievable, he was wide open.
It was wide open. It was supposed to be easy, but as the quarterback just shifted, he threw it on his back foot a little too high on the high point pass and just couldn't bring it down. Was Nick Finch, unfortunately, for St. Louis.
So that's going to result in another punt. Is once again in between about the 40 and the 50-yard line. St. Louis's drive peters out, and the fair catch called for by Daggs at the 27.
Not great. That's a terrible punt, and that may have been caused by this sort of weather. Sometimes you just catch the snap wrong, and then when you get your foot in it, it just doesn't feel right coming off the foot, and it just kind of petered out there. 38-yard punt, that's kind of,
So 6:24 left. Wilson hasn't done a lot of throwing in the 3rd quarter. 19 of 26, 259. Bentley 45 yards on 13 carries, 2 receivers, 1 to either side. This time 8 in the box, just a single high safety, and Wilson's pass caught over the middle by Montague, pickup of 6.
And that's just been where they've been driving the most passes down on to St. Louis here. Most of these passes that have been most effective for Mexico City has been over to the left side, and on the left middle side there has been where they've been gashed most of the game.
A balanced attack here for the passing offense. Barrett with 8 catches, Montague with 6, Daggs with 5. Daggs pass caught, wide open. Barrett, that's his 9th catch. He's now over 100 yards, joining his teammate, the big tight end, 1st and 10 of the 45.
Gotta give it up to the route running there. They're spreading the C's over at the same part of the field. And St. Louis knows it's going to be over at the same part of the field, but you just watch them just gravitate towards other receivers, leaving Barrett open once again.
5:25 to go, third quarter. Handoff, Bentley on a trap, pickup of 8 yards, and that almost looked like Wilson could have kept it himself. And of course, if you missed yesterday afternoon, Deacon Nickens with the 70-yard touchdown run, longest run for a quarterback in SFL history.
If you really looked at that play, it almost looked like he ran a read option. It just couldn't go to the running back, and he just took it himself all the way to the score.
2nd and 2 at the 48, just past midfield. That's where the Aztecs have lived. No, they don't go slant. They go Mike Daggs, who catches it over the shoulder with one hand all the way down to the 7. Unbelievable play by Daggs.
Mama, there go that man again. Here's Daggs once again. It just keeps happening. The Bronze Bomber right here just zips it right over to Daggs, over Colin Douglas. You know that's a bad matchup, and there he goes down the field.
Wow. St. Louis in a world of hurt right now. 4.5 to go. They have made no dent in this deficit here after halftime. Everybody, I mean, that's 12 yards of cushion there for Montague and Barrett. Let's see what the Aztecs want to do here. They're going to run it to Bentley. He's going to walk into the end zone. Touchdown. Unreal.
That just seems to be that's what it is that they're seeing on every play. These coverages are not being masked at all. And what you see here, they know there's a cushion. Just run it with Bentley. No one, gets into that gap because there's no one there. Everyone's deep in coverage, and those are the looks you can't give as a defense.
Nathan asks when the championship is. It is the last week of April, right around the NFL draft, and should be on the Twitch front page for that. Certainly excited to see who ends up coming out of this crazy season that we've had so far. 34-0 Mexico City. And Levon, how about Denver, man? Still unbeaten on a bye this week.
They've just been also on all cylinders. Giacomo Jones has just been a revelation for them since he's joined them last season, and this season he's really having a breakout year. He always had the talent in him. Ever since even at London, he was capable of making big plays. And Jared McChesney has really gotten into his own this season. I think he's challenging for the rushing title of Jackets.
Swaim only out to the 19-yard line. 4:14 to go in the third quarter. The Simulation Football League is brought to you by Movement, premium watches, sunglasses, and accessories. By Quip, perfect oral care delivered. By ScoreStream, the official score updates app of the SFL. And by Spygoat, the sound choice. 4:14 to go in the third, and I hope the fans brought their umbrellas, because right now they're sitting in a puddle as Diaz loses a yard. You look at the running back numbers, not a terrible night for Diaz, but they've just needed more out of this offense since the defense has had so many problems.
Well, part of that is they just can't get past third down. They get to third down and it immediately becomes fourth, which means that their defense is out there longer than the offense has been on the field. They're going to get tired.
Mitchell to throw, has a clean pocket, passes dropped. Oh, it's intercepted! Off the foot of Cody Scott. I've seen it all.
A couple seasons ago, we saw someone kick a ball and catch it for a touchdown, and right here they kicked it right into Garcia's hands for an interception. That is amazing. That bedazzled me. How does that happen?
Unbelievable. The kick pick off the kick 6 from a couple of years ago, and now with 3:39 to go in the third, oh my goodness, it just keeps getting worse and worse for the Gladiators. Hand off to Bentley, and a pickup of 8 yards gets out of the 13. And if I'm St. Louis at this point, Levon, I'm thinking, all right, who's on our schedule next week? We gotta regroup and just put Mexico City in our rear view mirror.
You don't want to admit that if you're a coach. You want to keep trying, but sometimes you just look at it, you look up at the scoreboard, you have rain all over your face, and you're just there like, this isn't enough.
And off Bentley near a first down. If Mexico City scores a touchdown here, where they will have outscored their opponents in the last 2 games, 86-0, which, if you look back in SFL history, I think would be unprecedented for back-to-back games. They were at home against Carolina, who obviously bounced back with a big win over Sioux Falls last night, so it's not like the Skyhawks are at the bottom of the standings or anything, and St. Louis just jumped offside, which gives the Aztecs a first down, and Gerald Smith said it best in the chat: when it rains, it pours.
Well, not only that, but when everything that could go wrong for St. Louis has.
So the offside will make it a 1st and goal for Mexico City. MeUndies are the world's most comfortable underwear. Visit MeUndies.com/SimulationFL for 15% off your purchase, which will help support the SFL through our partnership. Give the gift of comfort with a 100% satisfaction guarantee, free shipping and returns, signature soft and stretchy MeUndies. It is 1st and goal for Mexico City. They are up 34-0 here in St. Louis in an ugly night at Budweiser Stadium. Wilson's pass caught, touchdown. KL Barrett, 40-burger again for Mexico City in back-to-back weeks.
This is just absolutely a mess if you're St. Louis right now. KL Barrett once again, post corner route into the end zone, all alone, no safety help, and that you just can't do that. That's just it for them. That is one big, fat, juicy 40-burger for Mexico City.
And I think that was just that. Wasn't that just a simple slant there over the middle, Levant? I mean, he's just always running his slant routes all night long, and they just had no answer.
They're not even really covering it. All they're trying to cover for the deep pass that they keep getting smashed over to the other side with Dags anyway. So it's kind of hard. They can't really decide on who to plan for.
Well, Nathan, if you're new, which it appears that you are, if you're a new member, there's 2 other games right now going on the SFL. Not that I want you to leave our broadcast, but Baltimore is up on Alaska 17-16 in the 4th quarter. And Indy's on the board. It's 13-3 also in the beginning of the 4th quarter. And the Spitfire are on the San Francisco 31 at the moment. That's a look at your out-of-town scores as St. Louis returns at the 22-yard line.
Well, if I'm the coach for St. Louis right now, I would have shown them a diagram of like, we've been stopped at right before midfield. Here's where I need you to be. See where the logo is? Get at least there. We can talk about what to do from there. Get to midfield first. Just get to midfield.
Yeah, I'm with you, Levant. 1st and baby steps. 1st and 10 at the 22. Mitchell's out of the gun. And Mitchell drops to pass. Open pocket. Deep ball pick! Unbelievable! Pablo Zamora takes it away. Oh, this is tough to watch, I'm afraid.
Well, this right here is what happens when you try to get it back all at once. Mitchell tries to be a hero, goes deep, right into Zamora, who is just everywhere. This man is more than an eagle. He is a golden eagle. That's Mexico's national, on their flag, there's a national bird, and Zamora is one of those, and he just snags this one.
Man, we're still in the 3rd. Mexico City, I mean, they're looking like a championship ball club tonight. That pass caught by Dags. He holds on despite the monster hit from Douglas. And, well, what do we have to look forward to the rest of the week? Friday, Vancouver takes on Las Vegas. The Fury have lost 3 in a row, but everything's been close except for that. They had tough games against Tallahassee and Alaska. Vegas still playing some good ball. Came up just shy in New Orleans. Vancouver is right there at 500. And Levant, what do you see? I know you're going to be involved in the Vancouver game, but what have you seen out of Las Vegas over the first 5 weeks? Real tough schedule. They are somewhat victims of their schedule, but at the same time, Rahman's been looking a lot better this season for them. He hasn't been throwing as many picks. Funk's been getting involved. Blades has been getting involved. The defense looks a little improved from last season. Well, Barrett can't do anything there, so they're going to bring out Cole Varner to kick a field goal. This will be from 47 yards away to make it 44-0. And the Skyhawks are probably feeling just a little bit better about the shutout loss that they took last week, considering that they obviously are not the only team that Mexico City has put it to over the last month. As from a 46-yard distance, Cole Varner, nearly automatic, bad snap, nearly blocked, but Varner with the big swing, it's good, 44-0.
And he keeps his perfect streak of kicks alive. So bad snap, little low, in this weather, wind is kind of against him here, and he still gets it through.
So Saturday night, a big one. Tallahassee at Mexico City. The Pride playing much better football than they were at the beginning of the season. That loss to Sioux Falls is still the Sparrows' only win, shockingly enough. But at Mexico City, somebody has got to try to slow this Aztec team down. Could it be the Pride? How do you see that one with that?
Well, they really have to get the Sprouse brothers, Chappelle and Bond, all together and figure out how the secondary wants to guard against Dags and Barrett, because that has been what has decimated other teams. But we know that they have a very strong front four. They can get to the quarterback, and they have one of the best secondaries in this league.
57 seconds to go, third quarter. The handoff goes to Diaz, and Diaz picks up 7. And St. Louis, you know, you just got to keep running your offense, man. Just like what you saw the last time. You can't get it all back in one play.
And for St. Louis at this point, you just have to get any sort of pride back. You got to leave this game with a little bit of dignity, at least a field goal, something. Don't give Mexico City the mental and physiological advantage of having 2 consecutive shutouts going into their next game.
Diaz dropped behind the line, a 2-yard loss. That's the Dags brothers coming away with assisted tackles. Nick credited for most of it, has 5 solos tonight, 3rd and 5, and that'll be the final play of the third quarter. End of 3. It is an ugly night in St. Louis, and the Gladiators have seen better days. 44-0. You're watching the SFL Network on YouTube, presented by APM Music. Three receivers, 2 to the top of the screen for Mitchell. And Mitchell hands it off to Diaz out of the gun, and that only got a yard. Nick Daggs, another tremendous tackle. Some updated numbers tonight. Wilson, 24 of 32, 331 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Ray Bentley, 18 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown, so not a bad night for him. 15 first downs for Mexico City to St. Louis's 7. Cole Varner's 3 of 3 kicking. St. Louis has to punt again. K.O. Barrett, 10 receptions, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. Richard Montague, 6 catches, 55 yards, and a score. Mike Daggs, 7 receptions, 163 yards, and a touchdown. As we appreciate Lee Pato, a.k.a. Charles Doherty, in the truck, giving us our live stats tonight. Three catches for 11 yards for Finch. 1 catch, 15 yards for Ajlani. 1 catch, 4 yards for Cody Scott. And 6 catches, 17 yards for Denzel Diaz. They just had nothing going. Wilson over the middle. Pass tipped and bobbing around and nearly caught by Mike Daggs, but it's incomplete. He would have caught that, Levant. Oh, man, we would have seen a mass exodus.
I wouldn't even know what to have done for St. Louis anymore. You have 4 players near the ball. Dags would have come out with that. 2 Mexico City players against 4 St. Louis Gladiators. You would think odds are Gladiators would have at least batted it down to the turf. How do you give Dags a chance to get it? I don't understand.
2nd and 10 at the 42. Wilson out of the gun, fires middle. Diving catch caught by Barrett. He's up to 11 grabs now. For, let's get the official tally. I think 100 and, what are we looking at? I think north of 125 yards. We'll get the official numbers in a moment.
And once again, it's that same route progression that has been gashing defense, destroying defenses all season long. Just those slants up the middle where there's soft coverage, just gets there every time.
Bentley on the run is tackled by Mo Biggins. 2nd and 8. Clock ticking down to 9:40 to go in the fourth quarter. Well, these are the final games of the night, Levant, and you've seen the action around the league. What was the game that caught your attention? I don't, if we're being honest, I don't think it was this one tonight, unfortunately.
It's definitely not this one, but I have to give it up to Carolina coming back after a loss to this very same Aztecs team and giving a wonderful performance against Sioux Falls. A kickoff return for a touchdown, a pick six for a touchdown. They were really they really bounced back and scored in every facet of the game against Sioux Falls, which is extremely hard to do.
Yeah, Randy Mercury in the Skyhawk running game is still at the bottom of the league, along with this St. Louis team, as the Gladiators force a stop. But Mark Biddix has been getting it going. Harish Prasad has had a phenomenal season, and Dupree Hudson, an underrated free agent acquisition from Queen City in the offseason, proving to be fruitful so far.
Yeah, and after the max exodus that team has had in the offseason, they finally feel like, even if it's just a 2-4 start, they really seem like they can come back together and get back to 500 with the performance that they gave last night.
From the 10-yard line, this on the return is Swaim up to the 15. 8:41 to go. Gladiators attempting to end the shutout. Shutouts are pretty uncommon in the SFL. We've seen a couple this season, but it's not often that you see a shutout.
Unfortunately for St. Louis, they've almost had one last season in a 62-3 loss against Queen City, so they're no strangers to that.
They have had it in their history, as does St. Louis, one shutout. September 16th, 2018, Chicago won 37-0. So as it stands right now, this would be the darkest day of franchise history, which dates back quite some time, all the way back to their inaugural game on March 5th, 2017, almost about to celebrate their 2-year anniversary.
This is just not the way that they want to celebrate it here, unfortunately.
Pass caught at the 26-yard line by Nick Finch. He finds an open spot in the zone. 8 minutes and counting to go, and that's Finch's longest reception.
Which is not like him usually. He's able to at least, bring this offense up to a new level when he does well. But as we've seen tonight, he's just not getting open and not getting involved, and it's really hurt St. Louis tonight.
First down on the 27. Diaz takes a handoff, breaks a tackle. Diaz almost got away. A touchdown saving tackle there at the end of that play. Could not quite see who made it. We might get a look on the replay.
Well, let's see here. There's just absolute decimation there, and it looks like it was... I can't see the number there.
So our apologies. Mexico City tonight will get their 58th all-time victory. That is 3rd all-time in the SFL. Levant, you know who's in the top 2? Take a stab at it.
Top 2 of...
Oh, are you going to look? You could just guess. I heard the mouse click. You sly beast.
Oh, I'm actually just wanting to know top 2 of what first. I couldn't hear
all-time wins in the SFL.
All-time wins. I'm gonna guess at least one of them's the Maulers of some sort.
No.
No?
No.
This is an interesting one. Haven't been here this long to know, so this is going to be an interesting one.
We've got 6 minutes and 42 seconds to figure it out. Queen City, number 1 all-time, 77 victories, positive net points off the Moss drop there in live action, plus 562 in net points for Queen City all-time. Tallahassee is number 2. 65 all-time wins, 65 and 32. And the Tallahassee's actually 17 points away from scoring their 3,000th point of all time. Queen City just last week crossed the 4,000 point mark, which nobody's ever done. In Mexico City, they're sitting in third as they're going to get a sack. Mitchell gets blasted on third down. Dorian Lopez wraps him up to clean up the possession.
Not only that, Dorian Lopez gets a sack for his battle buddy Zeta there too. Now they both have a sack on the game.
Another angle at it as St. Louis will have to punt it away again here with 6:23 to go. Sioux Falls, 50 wins, 4th all time. Oklahoma City is 6th, 49, and Alaska right now 47. Obviously, Oklahoma City on the wrong end of a 500 record, but still been around the league quite some time. For Mexico City, this is game number 96. They'll be celebrating their 100th game in about a month's time.
Well, of course, as the commissioners of this league, you should know all those things. But, you know, I should have guessed that Tallahassee and Queen City were at least up there because they've been in this league some of the longest out of all of them.
1st and 10 at the 36. Wilson still in, probably just for one more series. I'm kind of surprised he's even still out there. Handoff goes to Bentley to pick up 1. At least I think that was Ray Bentley out there. Yeah, I believe so.
You know, when it gets to the point of the game where we have to doubt whether they're still out there or not, you know it's a wash. It's weird. We are getting washed in a wash.
5:46 to go, 4th quarter. It was not the entertaining night he had hoped. What a ball! Montague, I don't know how he hauled that one in. And Mexico City near midfield once more.
Well, this time they just have the same route progression on the other side of the field this time. They have Montague come across here, and this slant route has just been decimating this defense. Right, once again, Afalabi can't get a hand to it, and you just need at least 2 or 3 men on the ball to tackle the ball carrier, because a lot of these players in the Mexico City offense have just been able to break tackles.
Reed tried to rip the ball out there and couldn't get rid of it. 5:15 to go here in the 4th quarter. Scores from out of town as Bentley takes a shot. It looked like that was a safety there in Baltimore, but it's ruled down at the goal line. Baltimore winning 24-16 right now against the Storm, trying to get a season sweep on the defending champions. As we hit back to live action here as Bentley picks up 2. In San Francisco, it's the Sharks that have pulled out. They're ahead 27-10 on Indy. Either one of those scores, both of those scores surprise you, Levon?
The San Francisco one doesn't necessarily, but I know the Baltimore one does, because ever since that 3-block punt game, they've been looking a little out of sorts. So I'll probably pull the double on Alaska is an amazing achievement for them.
Montague's at the bottom of the screen here, 4:16 to go, and actually I think they may have put the backups in. Yes, backups are finally in for Mexico City. That's Frank Sanchez getting that handoff. It's 4th down. They'll punt it away.
Well, if you're St. Louis now, you have to think, okay, against their second string, we should be able to get points. But then again, Carolina believed that the last time, and then that didn't work out for them.
So St. Louis will probably get one last shot here as Mexico City running the clock down. Wow, man, 44-0. It just, you just don't, I mean, it's like once in a blue moon you see this stuff, and the Aztecs have managed to do it in back-to-back weeks. They just have it clicking right now, and that's going to roll into the end zone, unfortunately, there for the Aztecs. But, you know, I mean, this is historical, and people are really going to have to consider if Mexico City deserves #1 in the power rankings. I know it's St. Louis and Carolina, and I know it's 2 teams that have historically struggled in the SFL, but still, I mean, they are just playing their best football right now.
Well, against any team in the SFL, you have to be able to put them away, and Mexico City has proven and to be able to put any opposition away so far this season. And even in a close game in Houston, those are the close games that they're probably going to have in these next 5 weeks. They were able to pull one out. So if any team is probably going to come on in under the radar of all these other, these 4-1 and these 5-0 teams, they're going to come in to Tallahassee and give them a fight no matter what.
All right, Mitchell, one last shot. 3:23 to go, fourth quarter. 2nd and 6 at the 24. And Mitchell passing outside to Finch. That's a couple of out routes to Finch for 8 yards. 3rd and 2. And we revisit St. Louis's third down woes, 1 of 10 tonight.
1 of 10. That's absolutely atrocious, unfortunately, for St. Louis. And, if you're 10% on third down, I don't see how you would get points.
Well, Baltimore's Tony Willis, the former Alaska Storm member, just got a pick to seal the game, and Baltimore is going to improve to 3-2. Alaska, as that ball is caught, second to third down conversion there, Tito Moss. But Baltimore is going to improve to 3-2. Alaska falls to 3-2, but the Vultures now have the tiebreaker as Mitchell goes play action and completes it over the middle to Finch.
This is probably going to be the first time in 3 quarters that they've passed midfield.
You're right about that, Levant. Mitchell slipped out of his break and fires an off-time pass that was nearly intercepted. A pass intended for Moss.
We haven't seen too much of the Turf Monster, but the Turf Monster sometimes comes out and sneaks up on you in weather like this, and he just kind of got caught in it, and luckily for him, he didn't fall down.
2:47 left in the fourth. St. Louis trying to avoid the shutout. 4 receivers, 3 to the left. Mitchell short to Diaz, running start, picks up 5. No huddle for the Glads. 2.5 to go. Mitchell quickly back to the line, fires deep, knocked away. What a play. That was Zamora, who's still in the ball game, forcing a 4th down.
That's a little strange that they've, decided to bring Zamora back into the game if he wasn't already but I wonder, I guess he was down there the whole time, but that's still a great play by him to just come, the ball was a little underthrown, but he was still able to see the ball get and knock it away.
Mitchell on 4th and 5, pass caught for a 1st down to the 38-yard line, unless the refs want to take that one away from him too, as the Gladiators move the chains.
Sometimes, like was said earlier, when it rains, it pours, but I guess not this time. They decided to be fair and just and impartial this time and give them the ball. No.
Oh, come on, Ramos. Are you kidding me?
Are you serious
Let him
right
have
now?
it. It looked like a catch.
Just give him the field goal. Well, okay, let's just look at it again. Let's see. Do you have both feet in bounds this time? I guess that's what you're going to need. Let's see.
Oh, boy, I think he's out.
That's unfortunate. I guess that's going to be taken back on this very close call challenge.
Boy, talk about, and Ramos wins the challenge. Talk about wanting to preserve a second shutout. That's ruthless, as St. Louis will turn the ball over on downs.
I know someone who would appreciate that besides Ramos. I know someone indeed who would really appreciate that. That would be mighty. That would be Max Paul. He would definitely appreciate that challenge there.
Wow. So outscoring opponents now 89-0 in their last 2 games. The Aztecs with their backups will try to take the clock down. That'll be easier said than done. A 1-yard pickup there as Bates makes the play. So, all right, Levon, if you're in St. Louis's locker room right now and the sky is falling, how do you collect the team if they believe that the sky is falling? Because this is one of those losses that could lose some belief if you don't have the right bunch around you.
Well, I do know that the coaching staff over there, and Colin and Dwayne are,
And Ethan too,
and Ethan as well, are some of the, you know, most, you know, collected guys, I guess we could say, and they'll be able to talk to their guys and just try to inspire them with messages and so many other things, and just tell them to not give up hope on the season. There's still a lot of season left to go, and this doesn't define their destiny or their future. This is just a blip in the road.
Yeah, this group does not panic. This has been a very solid organization, and they've had, I remember that one season, Levon, if you remember, they were a field goal away from making the playoffs. A field goal away, and I think the Sharks won when they shouldn't have, or there was it was right down to the wire. Oklahoma City ended up making the playoffs, but I mean, St. Louis has been right there before, and there's still a lot of football left to be played, and it'll be interesting to see the adjustments that the Gladiators make. And we've talked about Mexico City's schedule a little bit, as St. Louis is down to 1 timeout. But the Gladiators' schedule, after a brutal last couple of weeks, will also be sort of trending in the direction of some opponents that are towards the bottom of the standings. They will be at Dallas, and that'll be a tough test as the Lobos are playing well. But San Francisco, Indy, OKC, Carolina, Atlanta, there are no teams of that group that are above 500 right now. So, you know, St. Louis with some opportunities down the stretch to get this back, but Mexico City gets the first down, and St. Louis is out of timeouts, and that'll be 3 kneel downs.
It doesn't really look like but there is some time for them to get some kneel downs in, but I think St. Louis will still end up getting the ball back, and I'll touch upon my future point after this.
32 seconds left in San Francisco. Indy is at the Shark 45-yard line, and they are trying to move the ball down the field, trying to create a comeback, and that's 1 kneel down for the backup, Rafael Rasanes.
Oh, well, for St. Louis, they do understand that you know, Dallas is going to be an extremely tough matchup. They like to go up high in the air with Osai and Junior Senior the third, but the other teams that they played next after that, like Indianapolis and San Francisco, are rather inconsistent, and they're a little Jekyll and Hyde. So if St. Louis can catch them on their dog's day, they could probably, you know, edge out those contests. And besides this game, they've been in really close contests all season long. So once again, this doesn't define where their season will end.
Courier V90, we're getting some members now that Baltimore, Alaska has gone. See in the chat all night as usual. I'm FM Problem. FM James is with us. Xander Gold is here as well. And that's 1 more kneel down, and they do the math correct, Levant, amazingly enough. And they will not have to snap it again, and Mexico City is going to preserve their 2nd consecutive shutout, which may be the first time anyone's ever done that in league history. We're going to have to dig deep in the record books for that one.
Well, this is just a monumental night for Mexico City if they do indeed hit the record books with this night. They have to be proud of their play, and they should be going into Tallahassee with a lot of energy and pride. On a pun not intended.
So Mexico City will face Tallahassee next Saturday. That will be a huge game in 5 days' time. The St. Louis Gladiators will lick their wounds and get back to action against Dallas. San Francisco has beaten Indy 27-17, so the Sharks get back to 500. There are your final numbers: 444 yards of offense for the Aztecs. They keep a clean sheet, no turnovers, and just an absolute complete game, no flaw in the Aztecs tonight.
None at all, and they even got the big plays I was doubting them getting with Dags and Barrett. So deep passes from Matt Wilson, unafraid of the weather. They've executed their game plan to perfection, which cannot be said for St. Louis. And they have a couple of tough games after this. And for Mexico City, they really do have one issue I do spot, is they really need to get Ray Bentley going. He's only, 60 yards is fine. Averaging that much per game is fine. But against Tallahassee's very stout front 7 and that you can't be passing into the teeth of their defense all the time, so they really need to get them going. But other than that, they've been absolutely astounding.
Well, for Charles Doherty, who kept things fresh on stats tonight, and Levant Mercer and our entire SFL Network crew, we've got the extraordinary Everest Player of the Game coming up. Who's it going to be, Levant?
I think it's going to be Matt Wilson.
The GOAT, Matt Wilson. Let's take a look. The extraordinary Everest Player of the Game. Visit extraordinaryeverest.com. Matt Wilson, 26 of 36, 352 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, quarterback rating 140. Final thoughts, Levant?
Close to perfect as you can be, and for Mexico City, that's just how you should be putting opponents away. Just an absolutely breathtaking performance in the rain by Mexico City, so that'll do it for us here.
Jury night from St. Louis. Thanks everybody who stuck around throughout the night. We appreciate you. Mexico City gets the shutout win, 44-0 for all of us at the Simulation Football League. I've been your play-by-play commentator, Cameron Irvine. Good night from Budweiser Stadium in St. Louis.
See ya.